Horror is the most effective when it all happens in players' heads. Having 10 years of experiences looking at players and what works and what doesn't work that well with them when they interact with zombies, we managed to tweak and tune their behavior so they are really a threat to someone who wants to survive our games. Hello everyone, my name is Tymon Smektała and I am the Franchise Director for the Dying Light series, which means that I am responsible for most of the creative decisions around the series and the franchise. Dying Light the Beast is the next fully fledged adventure in the Dying Light series. It's a combination of open world and survival horror, a game which stars the protagonist of Kyle Crane, a master survivalist who is trying to take revenge on a guy named Baron who was performing very brutal experiments on him for a number of years. The game takes place in the region called Castor Woods and it's quite different to everything that we have done before because it's full of nature. You imagine yourself being lost in the forest, full of zombies at night. It's as scary as Dying Light 1, but actually even more scarier because of the new environment and also the new technical advancements. We can really put players in the shoes of Kyle Crane, we can really get them immersed into the world. If you have never played Dying Light, I think one thing that you need to be aware of is that it's not an action game, but it's a game of smart survival. If you want to survive, you have to use your brain, you have to understand that it's not always good to fight, you have to pick your fights, you have to understand where to avoid danger and when it makes sense to jump into it. I think the biggest new addition are the so-called Chimeras. So Chimeras are actually very much tied with the narrative of the game, and those are the effect of experiments that the Baron is performing on humans, but zombies alike. And actually when he finds like a very special breed of zombie and starts experimenting on him, he creates this like really huge behemoth or a zombie with some very special abilities, like for example, he's able to disappear. We got inspired by body horror movies, and basically when you look at them, they are all made out of flesh. Super scary, super disturbing, like really strong horror vibes. So in the narrative, the Baron uses some kind of a gas that lures them to the location. And yes, you are using this gas as well in the game to kind of get them to your place and then start fighting with them. If you manage to defeat them, you can subtract a special substance from their bodies, inject it into yourself, then it improves your beast-like abilities. So you become stronger and you can tap into more of those beast-like skills. So you can jump higher, rip zombies in half, crush skulls, do like a very powerful ground pound. It really is a very powerful outburst of anger and power. The night was always like the most important element of Dying Light games. Super dark, quite difficult, quite challenging if you really have to get into this kind of slow-moving, looking around you, stealthy mind state of playing the game. And I'm super proud of how we have evolved the design of volatiles, our iconic night predators. We managed to make them look super realistic. I think the representation of volatiles is the scariest we ever had in a Dying Light game. When you play during the night, your main goal is to not get spotted, because the volatiles, they are all around you, kind of roaming the place in packs. They communicate with each other, so if one sees you, he makes a scream, and then every other volatile around you know where you are. Every horror fan will find something for them in Dying Light the Beast. We were generally looking at various ways to make people scared in our games. So of course we have jump scares, of course we have the viscerality, the body horror of some of the representations of our enemies. We learned to not throw too many zombies at the player, throw too many monsters at the player, because when you have something like that, you're basically creating an action game. What works best is that you introduce very mindfully longer periods of calmness, of nothing happening, maybe with just some disturbing sights or sounds or other elements that make you constantly feel a little tension, and then surprise players and then get the danger close to the players. the horror works when it's close to you. When you see someone on the horizon, you're not that scared, but when suddenly you like turn around the corner and there's a zombie there, it's suddenly like a very scary moment. For example, one of our key mechanics when interacting with zombies is the zombies grabbing you, and then you see their faces, and then you see kind of the physical struggle between you and them. So we are lucky enough to work with a composer named Olivier Derivière. They decided to go less heavy on the music with Dying Light the Beast, so we are mostly using the sounds of nature, the sounds of the environment around you, the sounds of zombies, to create this very, very, very unique atmosphere. That immersion makes you more scared because you feel like you are really there. Yes, we still get scared by our game, especially people that don't work on it like day to day, because when you work as a dev, every day you work on a little tiny piece of the game, next day on another little tiny piece of the game, so you don't get to feel the game as a whole. And then we hear from them, okay, I was working on this damage model system for the zombies and I was looking at it from the technical perspective, but then I played the game and I saw how it's used in the game and how you hit a zombie and like a chunk of the body falls off, and then it got really scary. There is a very powerful moment at the very end of it that I think will be quite powerful for players. So please, if you get the game, I encourage you to play it till the end, because a lot of very interesting things are happening in the finale.